Hi, everyone. Welcome to our weekly Thursday night real estate investors hangout. Thanks for coming to the show. And tonight we're going to talk about fixing houses. On some of my other hangouts, I've talked about the 4 F's of real estate: finding, funding, fixing, and flipping. So tonight we're going to talk about fixing. We've spent the last several weeks talking about finding and also funding in detail your deal. So I'm just going to start right in with how to fix the house once you find it and figure out how you're going to fund it. So let me move over so you can see the bulletin board a little bit here. Try to stay way off to the side. Tonight I'm going to give you a little bit of a slideshow, show you a spreadsheet, and a few of the other items that you can use to help you figure out how to do a really good budget that's not going to go over budget and cost you a lot of money, because you want to make money on the deal. That's the whole point of the thing, right? So let's jump right in. I'm going to screen share and show you a little bit of a few pictures of a rehab we did a few years ago, a few of a recent one, and then start going over how to hire your contractors and figure out your costs. All right, so let me do a screen share here. Let's see. Here we go. All right, so let me get that out of the way. So I'm just going to show you some before and after pictures of one of our rehabs. You'll often find in the houses that you're looking for, you're going to find older kitchens. Things haven't been fixed up or done to them. We'll take out the wall oven, the cooktop, which separately cost quite a bit in a new version. But if you just buy one oven, it's a lot cheaper because they're made more often. So they're only about $500 for the oven. And we also remove some walls sometimes to make more room and open up the kitchen. If you see this line here, it says remove this wall, and then we removed a wall over here as well. So let me go to the next slide. So that's what the old kitchen looked like, and here's the new kitchen. So this wall is not here anymore, and the wall that was over here isn't. So that opened up some space. On this particular house, we had to do a slab. It's not really that common to have to do that kind of work. But we did have to do some work on the chimney and then replace the fireplace on the inside. So that's the before and after on the chimney and before and after on the fireplace. Slab repair, there were some, it doesn't happen that often. So, you might find 1 in 40 that you have to do a slab repair on. And you might even avoid those deals if you really don't want to do them. So we report some sidewalks. We report the 10 by 10 behind the slider in the back. And we also fixed the slab in the garage. So we jackhammered that out. That was a more extensive job. So in your bathrooms, what we did was we use a lot of the same tile and everything. So we'll take a large travertine, use it on the walls in the bath, and on the floors in the bath, and on the floors in the kitchen. And this means we're buying the same material. There's a lot less labor. It's easier to cover the walls with large pieces rather than small, because every grout line, that's a labor cost. So that's one way to reduce your costs. Usually what we would do is only landscape the front yard. In this case, we did landscape the back because we were trying to take some dirt away from the house to level it out because of drainage problems. We did convert this den here into a 3rd bedroom. So that's what it looks like after we converted it. This was the doorway into it from the living room. And here's the updated kitchen. In this case, the cabinets, countertop, and everything cost us less than $5,000. And that's what you'd want to do. We also put in new windows. We took out a door on the side of the house, and we put in new appliances. Travertine floors, that's the same travertine that's in the bathroom. So those are some of the things you would do on your rehab. This is just a before and after picture of the outside. So we landscaped the front. That cost us quite a bit. We tried to do a dry landscape. The rock costs a lot. The bark costs less than the rock, but that costs quite a bit to get that going. So let me go through some of the costs here, because what I wanted you to realize, and you'll see on the screen behind me in a few minutes, is that 30% of your costs are going to be materials, and about 70% are going to be labor. Now, in this particular slide, I didn't really divide out labor versus materials, but I divided out individual things that are going to come up for you. So we only spent $1,600 on buying the windows, and I'll talk later about where to get those. $3,500 for just to buy the HVAC and the AC, and the labor cost was included down in this line down here. Those were the cabinets, and then we usually buy the appliances in a package. So all the appliances together, dishwasher, microwave, and oven was the $1,500. We had a specific guy just do tile, so that was $3,000 for him to do all of that. And sometimes we just buy the tile separately. So that in this case, the tile was included. We usually have a different crew do the painting. So we had one crew do the texture, the painting, the doors, and the baseboard. Anything that involved paint, that's what they did. The crew, when it says crew and labor, that's to do all the other things inside the house. Materials, this was our large material purchase, separate from the windows, separate from the HVAC, separate from the tile, but these were materials that we bought. And then in landscape, that we paid $5,500 for the concrete to do that, and about $7,000 for the landscape. Now, usually we would never put that much money into the landscape, but because we had to re-pour the concrete, we ended up doing more to the landscape than we normally would. So that's kind of the breakdown on that particular property. We ended up spending $64,000 on the rehab. So that's just so that you know what that total cost is. And we netted $58,000 on this house, so that worked out to be a really good deal. So let me turn off the screen share, and we'll go back to the list that we have. I also have for you a short movie. So let's stop that. Okay, so let me go over with you just to remind you the kind of houses that you're going to be working on. I had my son do these, so they're pretty cute Lego models. Let me hold that up for you. All right, so this is the kind of house you're going to work on. It's your basic 3-bedroom, 1 or 2 bath house. Sometimes 4 bedrooms, but not that often. Okay, might have a little RV on the side if you're in the West. A few windows. Nothing big, not a lot of landscaping, just a really basic house. Here's what you're not going to do. You're not going to work on a luxury house, okay? It costs too much. Look at everything that's there. You have a pool in the back with a lot of furniture. You have a limo on the side. You have palm trees. You have a lot of landscaping in the front. You have a lot of windows. You have chimneys. There's too much to do on this house. It's really hard to make money. It's a great place to live, but you can't make money doing that kind of house. All right, so that's just so you know. Remember, this is the house you're going to work on. Small, regular, 1,000 square feet up to maybe 1,800 square feet at the most. That's the best size house to make some money on. All right, so let me pull up a movie for you. A quick movie here. Pardon me while I find that and get it ready for you. Okay, here's another quick remodel that we did up in Sacramento. This is a very recent remodel. In fact, we just sold it this week for $223. So let me pull that one up. All right, so that was a movie just to show you a very recent remodel. And you might have seen on there that we listed the house for $229 and we got a full price offer for $229, which was great. We thought everything was good. But there's always something that might throw you off or go wrong. So you have to plan for all these contingencies. So what happened was we had also done the house next door and sold it in the summer. And that's how we found out about this house, because the neighbor came over and talked to us about buying his house. So what happened was when the appraisal came in, the appraiser looked at the house next door, which was the same square footage, same layout, and said that we had done it. So therefore it was probably done the same way and done by the same remodeler. So, and we had sold that for $220. The market was a little different at the time, but they looked at this at the remodeler. We also had never pulled out the entire kitchen in that one. The cabinets were so nice. We had just restained the first house. So the second one had a whole new kitchen, and you saw we pulled a wall out in the kitchen. So that opened up the kitchen to the living room. So it was a really different layout. In fact, the guy next door likes, you know, the house, the new house we just sold, better than the one he bought from us. But it didn't matter to the appraiser. We could only get it appraised for $223. So even though the buyer was willing to pay $229, it only appraised for $223. And since it was a VA buyer, he didn't have any extra money to pay the difference. So sometimes those things can happen even when you make the best plans and do the best remodel that you can do. So anyway, I wanted to show you that movie. I also have another really quick movie, and I won't show it to you. I'll put the link in the comments below. And what that movie does is that it shows you how to take notes for yourself and video a house when you're going to look for it. Because right now we're going to launch into how do we figure out how much it costs and find a contractor to do the work. So I do have a video on YouTube. I'll put the link here below. And what you need to do is take your iPhone or your video camera to the house with you. And a lot of people talk about taking pictures and then taking a clipboard and notes. Really, that's not necessary. Take your phone, and as you walk through the house, video it and also talk into the video. So what you're speaking into the video would be what you need to fix. And even if you don't know what it would cost, or if you would need to fix it, just note, oh, I see there's a crack here, or oh, I see there's some damage here, or the wall looks funny here, or whatever you need to say into the video. And it'll take you 5 minutes to walk through the house and get all that down. And then you can go back and review it later, because sometimes you can only get into a house once or twice before you buy it. And it will really help you a lot if you can do that. Sorry, I have to mute my phone here. All right, so let me launch into some of the things we're going to talk about. I'm going to share with you a sheet that you can also use to help you estimate it. And I'm going to post that also in the comments below, so you can grab the sheet and use it for yourself. So let's look at the board I have behind me. One of the most important things that you're going to need to do is find the people who are going to do the work for you on your rehab. So the first question is, where do we find the contractors? So there's several places you can look to find contractors. You can go to your local REHAB club and ask people for recommendations as to the proper and the best contractor that they've seen and used to do their rehabs. You can look online on the Yellow Pages. You can do a search on Google or whatever. You can look on Angie's List, and I would get 3 estimates from contractors. Now, one reason that the next question says who is because you have to think about the cost of the contractor. The cost of the contractor is not necessarily the labor, but you have to look at who the contractor is and where the contractor lives. Now, the most expensive contractors you can find are the ones who do remodels in neighborhoods like the one you live in. They remodel for homeowners. The homeowner's not trying to make a profit, so the contractor usually charges quite a bit because the homeowner is willing to pay it, because the homeowner lives in that house. So you have to find contractors who are maybe younger or older and have already made quite a bit of money. They're not living in a big house, they're living in a smaller house. Even some of our subs are very young guys in their early 20s, and they still live at home. So their costs of living and getting by day to day are quite a bit lower. So they charge a lot less to do the labor. So that's kind of the kind of people you need to make money in the remodel business and the fixing a house business, because you can't afford to pay the nice house home remodelers. It's just too expensive for you. All right, so let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. There's also ads in the local newspapers. Sometimes contractors will put an ad there, and also Craigslist. You can also drive around and see what kind of remodeling is being done in the same neighborhood where you bought the property, and stop by and talk to those contractors. Usually whenever a contractor is working, they will put a sign out in front of the house. So there'll be something out there for you to contact them with. When I've walked into those situations, often a sub's there and he doesn't even have a business card for the guy he's working for. So you have to dig a little bit to find out who these guys are. So I went over who you want. That's based on how they live. Now, how do you get them to give you some bids that you can compare? The problem happens that when the contractor writes up their own bid, sometimes they just do a blanket cost. They'll say $20,000 to do everything you want, because they don't really want to itemize it out. It takes too much time. Sometimes they'll separate out the materials and the labor. Sometimes they will separate it out by topic, and they'll say walls, windows, or interior, landscape, and HVAC, or kitchen, bath, and then the rest of the house. And they'll all be separated out differently. You cannot compare, except for the total cost. You can't compare those prices from one contractor to another. You can't ask them to reduce the cost on one of it, because you can't figure out what they were going to charge you compared to what another contractor was going to charge you for the exact same thing. So you can't even separate out the costs and get one person to do part of it and another person to do another. There really is only one way to do that, and that's to hand them your own bid sheet where you have itemized out what you want them to do, and you want them to put a number into each area on the sheet. So make sure it's in a table format where there's a blank space next to the items that you want to know what it's going to cost you. And then when you get those back from the different contractors, you can compare what each one of them is going to cost because they put them all on the same sheet, and it's the same sheet that you handed them. So I'm going to screen share up a sheet that you can use to estimate the cost. This isn't the one you'd give the contractor, but it gives you an idea of what things you have to think about when you ask them to remodel for you. Or it also lets you do kind of a quick and dirty estimate for yourself. So I'm going to screen share that for you. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. I'm going to make it as big as I can. About 150. Yeah, I better go down to 150. All right, so it all fits on the screen. That's great. That's great. So let's start with roof and gutters. Sometimes you don't have to do any work on the roof, which is really good. If you do need to reshingle, here's an estimate here. And remember, all these estimates are based on the part of the country that you live in. So this would be $4 a square foot if you were rolling over the existing one, or if you were ripping it entirely off and starting over. And it gives you a price for gutters. Okay, exterior paint, siding, and sometimes you have to patch the stucco. If you stucco over the existing stucco, there's a specific price. If you just paint it, there's a specific price. Notice it says 1,500 square feet. That's sort of the median price house that you should be working on. Okay, all new stucco or siding. So in other words, sometimes you're ripping off old siding and putting on stucco. So you'd have to put in a cost there. Windows, you can multiply the number of windows by 250. Some contractors will put in windows for $100 each, plus the cost of the windows. So you have to look at what the windows are going to cost you. I'll talk later about where you get some of your materials. Garage door, usually a garage door with the opener installed, I always guess it's going to be around $1,000 to $1,200. Sometimes garages, you need to paint them, and I would not advise building a new one. That is, I would rather just tear it down and have it be gone. The yard landscaping, okay, easy yard cleanup, probably more like 250. A hard, difficult clean yard on a slope or something is 750. Doing a pool, this is where you get into big money. Try not to buy any houses with pools because it's just going to cost you more. And you certainly don't want to rent those out. All right, let me move up here. Heating and AC, sometimes you do have to replace the AC. And if the power is not on when you buy the house, it's hard to tell if the thing even works. So budget $2,500 to $3,000 to repair that. Replacing wall heaters. I would rather just put in a whole new furnace system than replace those really old wall heaters. And now you can put the furnace up in the attic and just use ducting that goes throughout the house. And it comes out through the ceiling, so it's a great place to put it. And it gives you, if it was in a closet originally, it gives you some extra closet space. Does the plumbing need repair? $1,500 per wet location, which probably means per bathroom. So that's what you're going to talk about there. A water heater, you know, the new one's about $300 plus your labor. Does the electrical need repair? I wouldn't advise putting in, you know, new wiring unless you're really stripping the house back to the studs. But you can put in a new panel for between 1,500 and 1,800. We just did it on a house in Boston, and it was 1,800. So this price is really accurate. We just did that in September, actually. Okay, so basement. Does the basement need repair? It goes over support beams. Sometimes you need beams, support beams under the subfloor. Interior paint. Here you have a 1,500 square foot house, an estimate, and also $1.50 to $2 per square foot for painting. If you have cathedral ceilings, it's going to cost you more. So you've got to think about that. If you have to do prep work like retexturing something or scraping off the popcorn, that's going to cost some more too. Quick rule for, does the house need carpet? Does it need tile and vinyl? Now, here they're ceramic tile, how much per square foot with the labor, and sheet vinyl. So you can see why a lot of people put in sheet vinyl. It depends on the house. If you're going to do a rental, that's fine. If you have, you know, $400,000 and $500,000 houses like we do in California, you would stick with ceramic tile for that. Hardwood install. Sometimes people just bring that laminate floor all the way into the kitchen and they don't bother with the tile because it's less per square foot. So that's something to consider. If you already have hardwood there, you can sand and refinish the oak hardwood. Sometimes it's underneath the carpet when you pull out the carpet. Does the kitchen need to be repaired? Single family in a nice repair for a flip home, you are going to spend about this much to get new cabinets and countertops. Does it need appliances? Remember, I showed you the price of $1,500, so $2,000 if you're not really good at shopping. Bathroom fixtures, a complete bath. They're talking about tub, toilet, vanity. That would be the cost for that. And of course, the half bath doesn't have the tub, so it costs quite a bit less. Here's a price estimate for sheetrock. The other thing you need to know about is it's going to cost you. You're going to have to get a dumpster. Try to get the dumpster there for as few days as possible. Get the dumpster, get your demo done on a weekend, and get rid of it. Don't let it sit around because people are going to come and dump stuff at your house. I don't know if you noticed on one of the pictures that I showed about that other house remodel, during the remodel, but someone dumped a mattress in our front lawn because they figured, well, we would have to take care of it. And of course, you have no idea whose mattress it is, so you do have to get rid of it. So get the dumpsters, get them in and out. Termite repair. Let me give you a quick tip on that. Sometimes if you have repeat business with a termite guy, you can get them to come inspect it for free. You do your repairs when you do the work on the house. So you're replacing a lot of things that they have mentioned that need repair, and you get them to come back and recertify it. When they recertify it, get a treatment done. And when you do that, you have some sort of warranty or something on the termite for a year, and then the homeowner can continue to pay on that if they want. But this way you're not paying for them to repair the termite work because you're doing it when you do the remodel. And you don't want to have it come and have them check it after you're done, because then they can find things that you didn't know about in the wood, in the roof, soffit repairs, stuff that you could have done before you finished, repainting it. Sometimes you can get your fence work done for fairly inexpensive by just having a separate guy do that. We just had on a house in Sacramento, we just had 3 sections of new fence stolen. So we have to go put that back in, but we're not going to do it till after, we close on the house. Right before we close, we will put that fence back in because we don't want to pay for it a third time. Permits. Every county and city has different prices for permits, so I would research that before you look into that. Anyway, so that's a sheet you can use. I will be posting that sheet in the comments section. It's a basic PDF, and you can use it to calculate what you would do. We talk a little bit about how you can hire some of your own work. I had you get some bids from contractors because they're used to doing that. But another thing you can do as the owner of the house, whether it's you personally or it's the LLC, is you can actually hire the contractors and the subcontractors yourself, because as an owner, you are allowed to act as a contractor and hire your own subs. What I would do for this, and you can also get the permit yourself as the owner, is I would go to Craigslist and hire people on Craigslist. Now I would bring them to the house. Here's like how and then when. So I'm on this right behind me where it says when. I would have them come all on the same day, schedule some appointments that are close together so they see there's other people coming and going. And if they don't show up, fine, but have them all come at once. Don't spend your time having one of these guys come, because they may not come and you wasted a trip over to the house. So have them all come at the same time in a row, and keep having the subs bid and call them back and say, I've got a guy who can do it for this much. Can you do it for less? So try to get them to match each other's prices. So you can hire one guy to do just the tile. You can hire somebody to do electrical, someone to do the plumbing. You can hire someone to do just the walls and the painting and putting in the doors. We usually have a separate crew that just does that. You can hire another guy or another crew just to put in cabinets and granite. Sometimes people will specialize in that. So here's a way to keep your costs down, because if you hire an overall general contractor, for them to organize all that, they're going to charge you 50% above what everyone else is charging you just to get the job done. So if you want to be your own contractor, find the guys that can do the work for you and get that done. Hire someone to just do the fence. Hire someone to do some of the landscaping on the outside, and you don't have to have a contractor oversee all of that. Let me check my notes and see if I went over everything that you need to know. Remember, the contractors are going to charge based on what their living expenses are. So if they're younger and they still live in a small apartment or they live at home, they're going to charge a lot less than a guy who has a 5-bedroom house and a couple kids in college and high school. So just think about that when you hire your subcontractors. All right, so here's some tips. How do I find my materials? All right, so you can get a very large order from Home Depot and get a discount on that order if you order it all at once and they deliver it to your property. And then within 7 days, if you change anything out or reorder, you can also get the same discount within that 7-day period. So check with Home Depot on their details. But the last time I did it, it was 7 days. So that's a great place to get a lot of miscellaneous materials. Get a huge list and do it all at once. Don't keep going back and forth to Home Depot or have you guys do it, because that'll just cost you money. The other thing we do is the HVAC. That would be ordered from a different location, some kind of warehouse. The windows would also come from some type of warehouse, wherever the cheapest place is to get those windows. I'm in San Diego. Sometimes our guys will drive to LA just to get the windows. They'll go up, make one trip, get all the windows in their truck and bring them back. HVAC windows, what else? Your appliances can come. Don't get those at Home Depot. You can get those from a scratch and dent or an appliance warehouse where they have floor models that they're getting rid of, or they have a special. So get those from a warehouse as well. So let me talk about the Home Depot commercial card. If you get a commercial credit card from Home Depot, you can get, and I just looked this up last night, so you know, if your credit score is in the upper 600s, you can at least qualify for the card. Now your credit limit's going to depend on your score. So anything above that, is better. What you can do with this card, if you get the commercial card, when you order something or when your guys order something, instead of them handing you the receipt, you're going to get a complete itemized receipt attached to your monthly bill. So your bill can be 3 to 5 to 10 pages, depending on how many times people went to Home Depot. But every single thing they ordered is going to be there. So if you send your contractor to buy something, they can't be ordering extra stuff for another job on that particular Home Depot card because it all shows up. So even if they have a small receipt and, you know, it was going to show up on your bill, but you didn't actually get the physical receipt, you would know, in this case, what they ordered, because besides getting the physical receipt, it shows up on your complete bill. So get the Home Depot card and get your, you know, commercial card, because that's how you get the itemized bill every single month. All right, so let me move over to the other warehouse item that I forgot to mention is you might want to get your flooring from a separate warehouse. You're going to get a good deal or a closeout or something for your either your tile or your laminate or your carpet. So you can go to a separate warehouse for that. So I'm going to go over the top 10 steps in order when you do your rehab. So here's your top 10 steps, and I'll move over this way so you can see that without my shadow. And I'll just work through those steps, and then I'll give you some shortcuts on how to save some more money. If I haven't covered each shortcut already, I'll do it right now. All right, so the first thing you want to do is the demo. Oh, and there's a reminder in the middle there that 70% of your costs come from the labor and about 30% come from the materials. So you can spend a little bit more on materials, and it's not going to cost you that much more to have nice materials. You don't want to have to pull them out and do them again, especially if you keep it as a rental. Mostly what I'm talking about now is setting up a house to do it as a flip. So that's what we're focusing on. So first you do the demo, everything goes out. You have your dumpster that day. You get rid of the dumpster as soon as possible because you're usually paying per day and you don't want any other stuff from the people in the neighborhood. So that's how you get rid of it. All right, then you do a walkthrough with your plumber and your electrician, and you talk about whether you have to move anything. Sometimes if you're repositioning things in the kitchen, you're going to have to move the gas pipe for the stove, and you might have to move the plugs. You might have to move, you're going to put in more plugs than was ever in an older home. And so you want to walk through with the plumber and the electrician and get that all figured out. Anything to do with the large that has to do with the HVAC and putting in ducting, say in the attic that's going to come into the ceiling, you want that done, those ducts put in and knowing where the holes are before you're texturing the ceiling. Okay, so you want that done next. Then you work on walls and painting, interior or exterior. You need some patches done, you need some retexturing done, and they can start putting on the primer for the painting. Working on the windows. While they're doing the walls, you want to be doing windows at the same time and make sure you can, you've got the right size holes, you can get those windows in and fix up the trim around the windows. Tile and bath, this can be going on at the same time as well. This is number 6. So get someone to start working on the tile, putting in the tubs, and they can also do the tile in the kitchen at the same time. Cabinets and vanities, number 7. So those would go in next. You definitely want to have all your tile in, your painting, all that stuff done before you get any cabinets in. You don't want paint, grout, and all sorts of stuff all over cabinets and vanities. Next would be flooring. The flooring, you want the person to be laying the flooring, knowing what the layout is of the house and where everything else is. So laminate and carpet. And then appliances would also go in last. That's number 8. Number 9, If you're going to do any window treatments, sometimes we'll just put a bar, not a bar, but a curtain rod bar above some of the windows, and then just get those tab curtains or the ones with the big rings in them that just slide over those poles. It's easy to take the curtains down and take them to your next house, and you can just leave up the poles if the owners want them for those window treatments. You can get that stuff really inexpensive at IKEA, and the curtains come in different lengths, and you just iron it up. There's this thing that comes with it, and you iron it, and that sticks it up to the right length for that particular house. So number 10 is stage your beautiful creation. So do some staging. We usually stage the kitchen and the living room, and sometimes we'll do one bedroom. If we do a bedroom, we get those inflatable mattresses, stack them on top of each other, put some bed stuff over them, bedspread, pillows, and that's the bedroom. Don't make the bed too big. Just get, a double size inflatable and put that in there. Put in some fruit in the kitchen, plastic fruit in a bowl, some towels, and lay out maybe a couple place settings on your counter. That's an easy thing to do. Put in a few wine bottles on the countertop, and maybe if there's a fire, if there's a mantle, put something there. That's a good way to stage your property. We try to keep it as open as possible, so you don't want to you just put in a few items to make it look homey. And when you look through some of my movies, you'll see the kind of staging that we do. Just a picture here and there is very helpful. So that's the order you want to go through. Number 1, demo. Number 2, plumbing and electrician. And by the way, those are the only people who really need to be licensed when they do the work for your rehab. So you can hire some subs to do the other work. No one licenses tile people. You just get that stuff done. Number 3, furnace, HVAC, AC. Number 4, walls, painting. Number 5, windows. Number 6, tile and bath. Number 7, cabinets and vanity. Number 8, flooring and appliances. Number 9, window treatments if you want. And number 10, stage your creation. So anyway, that is all I have for tonight. In the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing some more details on remodeling. We'll be interviewing a few people, and we'll also be doing a scope of work class where we tell you what we're going to do. We show you some pictures on the house, and you guess what it cost. And then at the end, we tell you what it actually cost. So it's a good way for you to participate in the Hangout and see where your skills are. The other thing you can do in the meantime is you can go to Home Depot, go to the Pro Desk, and ask them for one of the scanners, or take a clipboard and write it down. Take pictures with your iPhone, and you can price out a lot of the items that you would want to use. Sometimes they have like the lights. They'll say Contractor special. So there's like 2 overhead lights in one package. Very simple window. It's very simple fans. So price out what these items cost, keep the SKU number, and start using the same SKU numbers every time that you do a house. So it's always the same. So you know exactly what you're going to put in it. Every once in a while, the vanities will change because they'll come up with a different deal. But a lot of the basic stuff is there. And if you, that'll make it really fast for you if you keep a list of the SKUs that you need. And when you do your big order, it's much easier to fill out the order if you've already made a list. So that's another, homework item you can do, is go to Home Depot and price some of these things out. Anyway, thank you very much for attending and coming to the Hangout. Next week, we'll continue on the topic of fixing the house, and hopefully we'll have some fun guest speakers to come and talk with you about how they do their remodel. So anyway, thank you very much, everyone. We broadcast on Thursdays, 6 p.m., and it's called Real Estate Investor Hangouts, and I'm at Wise Wealth University. That is my website. I'm going to give you, let's see. I want to give you where you can follow me. Oh, wrong one. Where you can follow me on Twitter. I'm the Pink Professor. I always wear something pink when I do my Hangouts. And then I have something, if you want to register for the Hangouts, you can go to wisewealthuniversity.com/Hangouts. And if you register there, you'll be reminded each week of when we're doing the Hangout. You'll get an email, and it will tell you when the live Hangout is. So you only have to register once, and you'll be reminded each time, and you can be taken straight to the Hangout page where we broadcast. And that's where you can also leave comments, any questions you might have that you'd like me to cover on the next Hangout. You can post there on the Hangout page. So we have comments on Google Plus and also on Facebook. So thank you everyone for attending tonight, and we'll see you next Thursday.